You can sit here.
Kuja kama kiti.
Salon nitakwambia later.
Salon nikifanya utaona.
It will be regular. Be gentle. Social.
Yes, we're making sure that you know. I know.
Hi, my name is Dennis Gitonga. I'm 47 years old, father of 2 girls. In 2009, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis.
My 1 year, 9-month-old son, Harvey, is affected by spinal muscular atrophy type 1.
I have 2 children with rare conditions, non-related. My firstborn has hemihyperplasia and she was diagnosed at birth. My secondborn has ring 18 chromosome. She was diagnosed at 2 years of age.
I represent Joubert syndrome. My son, who's 1 year, 4 months, currently has it.
I'm a patient suffering from hereditary angioedema.
Multiple sclerosis is a disease of the nervous system. It affects your brain and your spinal, hence lack of communication.
Spinal muscular atrophy, or SMA, is a genetic condition. It affects the function, your body function, mainly your muscles. It is the #1 infant genetic killer disease, and the prognosis is not very positive. It says that the babies cannot live past 2 years old. And basically, you're born with muscles, you can do everything, and with time your muscles just get weaker to the point where you cannot eat, you cannot move, and eventually you cannot breathe by yourself. You need mechanical assistance to breathe.
Joubert syndrome is a malformation of the brainstem. What that means is that there's a part called the vermis that is missing, that is in charge of your balance and coordination. And then the brainstem is malformed in a way that it forms what is called the molar tooth sign. And that's the only way you can diagnose Joubert through an MRI.
Hereditary angioedema is a rare and potentially fatal genetic disorder. It manifests itself in excessive swelling of muscle tissues, and it is caused by lack of a protein called C1 inhibitor.
Hemihyperplasia is whereby you have an overgrowth of cells such that you find one part of the body is bigger than the corresponding part of the body. For example, one leg is bigger than the other leg because of the cell overgrowth. And ring 18 chromosome, depending on the spectrum, it depends on what has been affected when the chromosomes are forming. So it can range from delayed milestones to brain anomalies to heart conditions to even autism. So it just basically depends on what affects your child. So each case is different.
I had not heard of the condition. I was so confused because I didn't know what to do next.
Of course, there's that whole, how long will my child live? What does it mean, taking care of him? How long, you know? It was a shock, but we're dealing with it.
I felt confused. It had no cure. I felt very depressed and very alone.
I think I was just blank. I was in shock, and it took a while to sink in because we knew they were doing the test for SMA, but that was the last. It was the last thing we thought would.
I got angry at God. I got angry at the world. I got depressed, and I'm like, why is this happening to me? Why are my kids getting different conditions? Because for the second one, we really made sure the condition was, she didn't have the condition of the firstborn, but one to us, it happened something totally opposite.
The challenges that we face constantly is the rising medical bills, because we have to do physiotherapy 3 times in a week. We have, of course, his diet, that whole, and because he has other affected, like his kidney, one kidney is not working, so we have to constantly do tests to check that he's okay. There's always the emotional turmoil.
There's a lot of body shaking and people walking as if they have had 1 or 2 many drinks, or you find you have challenges in your bladder control.
The challenges I face, I would say the fact that my kids' conditions are different, so I have to like split my thought process into 2 and try and deal with them separately and concurrently, because I'm still raising them at the same time. So I can't say I'm ignoring baby 1 and sorting out baby 2 or vice versa. So that I find it hard, because I have to make sure both of them are doing their therapies, they are meeting their milestones, they are seeing the doctors when they're supposed to see the doctor. So I have to be on top of the game for both of them at the same time.
We do not have available and accessible medication for emergency treatments. You will find that in a month, the medicines that I require to make me live a normal life will cost me about $500,000, not below $500,000, which is actually very expensive for me.
Just getting to see your child going through all those painful procedures every day is also very challenging.
So in future, I would expect that our government would include rare conditions in the National Health Insurance Fund. I would also wish that we are able to encourage each other to join support groups, so that we are able to share experiences and learn how to live a better life.
I expect in the future for my children's children to have newborn screening. This is whereby at least the government should have installed that protocol such that when every child is born, whether it's in a private hospital or a public hospital, there's a screening whereby they check for certain genetic condition, common genetic conditions or anomalies, such that management of these conditions can be done at the onset of a child's life, not later in life when a lot of milestones have been skipped and time has gone way past anything that can be done.
The other thing I would like to see is that the society at large can be more accommodating of people living with rare disease and not shun them from the society and think of them as either caste or some witchcraft. That whole drama doesn't make it easier for anyone.
Of course, I expect full treatment, proper research to be done, and then number 2 is government support, especially on the available therapies we have, which are proving very costly.
Through joining groups such as rare disease groups and all that, I'm hoping that we're going to form a strong group, strong enough to influence the government just to offer assistance, financial assistance, support like medical support and all that, because it's very challenging. And if we come out as a group and just speak up, we'll get other people to join the group with rare diseases and disabilities as well. And we can form a strong enough group to just influence the government to help, because alone we cannot do it. Yeah.